Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea Tranquility. It's Wednesday. It's new album review day. I've got helping me on this particular episode, the professor of prog from the Laser's Edge and Sensory Records, Mr. Ken Golden. What's going on, my friend?
Morning. Hey, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good. We're here to talk about a pretty cool album here on this episode today. As a CD falls off my shelf.
Is that an omen?
I hope not. That's
Wow.
All righty then. I don't know if you probably didn't see it. That's happened before. I'm sitting there doing a show and all of a sudden you see one of them just kind of fall off. But this one, a little bit back for it. I can't even really see what it is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the debut album from a U.S. band called Birth. The album is called Born. Birth, Born. CD, there's the vinyl. For those of you who may not have heard of this band, maybe you've heard of a band called Astra. All right. Astra, who was on Metal Blade Records, Rise Above Relics, their first album. This is their second album called The Black Chord. This came out in 2012. A lot of people were really into these guys, kind of like a 70s prog psych type of space rock sort of a thing, right? A lot of people dug them, and then they just kind of disappeared, broke up, and that was a decade ago. So now we've got two guys from Astra, right?
Yep.
Who make up the band Birth. We've got Connor Riley, who on this album plays synthesizer, electric piano, organ, acoustic guitar, and sings. We've got Brian Ellis on guitars, piano and percussion. Plus now we've got two other guys, and I don't know if these guys are from anywhere else, but
They were in a band called Psychomagia.
Psychomagia, got you. So we got Trevor Wast, is that his name? Mast?
Trevor Mast.
Okay, on bass, and Paul Maroney on drums. And this album is on Bad Omen Records, which is fairly newish, right, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it's being distributed here in the U.S. through Metal Blade. So the Bad Omen is kind of a cool English label. A lot of the stuff they're doing has sort of a retro feel. There's this great band called Witch Hazel, which reminds me of Wishbone Ash, twin guitar, new wave of British heavy metal. Also good stuff.
Yep. So as far as this goes, 70s retro prog, right?
Absolutely.
Six tracks, fairly lengthy-ish, right? 5 to 7 minutes each. No real big, humongous epics. Lots of really good guitar. Definitely has a 70s feel. Plenty of mellotron, electric piano, all the usual suspects. A lot of analog sounding synths, even though some of it might be digital, who knows, or samples and things like that. But it's got that 70s sound. Ken and I were talking before we went on the air about a lot of what's on this album reminds us of other bands from the 70s, but we're having a hard time kind of
it has this sort of undefinable sound. It's like there's something there that you kind of recognize, but you're not quite sure exactly
right
what it is. And one thing that I was going to say that's really cool, Pete, I don't know if you read the band bio. So they make reference to all kinds of classic prog bands in their bio. They talk about Osana. It was like, I'm just glancing at the Aphrodite's Child, PFM, Aria, Robbie Basho, the folk guitar player, and Osana as references, musical references.
A lot of Italian bands there, right? Which
yeah,
I think I hear more of like European and certainly Italian bands than, like the usual suspects. Like I don't hear any Genesis or Yes or ELP or King Crimson, none of that stuff on here. One of the bands that it does remind me of a little bit, and not so much vocally, because there are vocals on this album, but it's more of, there's a lot of long instrumental passages on here. Reminds me of like Tab in the Ocean and Remember the Future, Nectar.
I was even going to say Journey to the Center of the Eye, early Nectar.
Yeah.
Early Nectar.
Because there is a psychedelic kind of slant to this album.
You know what? I'm gonna pull out of my ass two really obscure U.S. bands that it reminds me of. One is a band that I did early on. It was my third release, I think. Atlantis Philharmonic, from Chicago, from the Cleveland area, actually Cleveland, and then Polyphony, who were from Maryland, I believe. They had one album called Without Introduction, and it's very similar to, I hear like little bits when the Hammond organ comes in. I'm kind of reminded a little bit of Atlantis Philharmonic when the Moog comes in. I'm reminded a little bit of Polyphony. Yeah, and like I said, it's got that sound, man. They really capture the sound.
How about Cathedral too, a little bit?
Yeah, Cathedral. I'm even going to go crazy and say like a little Hawkwind too.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is some Hawkwind influence on the Astra stuff, so I guess that's not surprising, right? It's good. It's the guitar work is nice and aggressive in spots, which I like. And there's just loads of keyboards. And I've heard some people say they're not nuts about the vocals. I don't mind them because I don't think this is like so much a vocal band. Like they use vocals in spots, but it's more like these just like 2 and 3 and 4 minute long, instrumental sections, and then the vocals pop in for a little bit. And
and also there's something with the production. It's got kind of like I'm not sure that's the right word, but maybe like a little euphonic nature to the. That's probably not the right description, but there's sort of. I think they use a lot of reverb.
Oh yeah, big time.
A lot of reverb on it, so it's got this sort of interesting effect on the vocals. But it's not they're vocals, but it's not a. They're not they don't detract from the music at all.
No, not at all. So the song titles, interesting how the album is titled Born, right? The name of the band is Birth. So we've got the title track kicks it off. That's just under 5 minutes long. We've got Descending Us, which is just under 7. For Yesterday, which is 8. Okay, so there is an 8-minute long track on here. That's the longest piece.
Yeah.
Cosmic Tears is 7:41. Another Time is just under 6. And then Long Way Down is just over 7. So it's roughly a like a 43, 44 minute long album, I think, something like that, which perfect length, to be honest with you.
I would have been upset if there was one more, but it was fine.
Yeah. I don't know. We got some, we can show off the whole thing here.
Yeah.
Probably looks better on Ken's because he's got the full LP.
Yeah, I mean the artwork. The artwork is gorgeous. So it's really nice. It's interesting because everybody kind of wondered what happened to Ashley. And it been a long time. And then the Birth demos popped up, and they went up. I think they went up on Bandcamp or something, and everybody was kind of freaking out about this band. I found out about him because Will Palmer, who runs Bad Omen, happens to be my PR guy for my labels for the UK. Is one half of the team, along with Andy Turner, and he told me about Birth. I'm like, oh shit, you're doing that. Yeah. So I was like, man, I wish I could have done that. So I would have loved to have done this album. And so they had, Bad Omen has this distribution deal for the US with Metal Blade. So everybody's been sort of chomping at the bit for the album because the demos came out, I think around 6 months ago. So I was just waiting for this to drop. So.
And it's in a year where there's been some good prog releases, but I think everybody's been waiting for the big one, something that's going to just like knock everybody's socks off. And if you love like old school style symphonic 70s prog, I think this is going to kind of scratch that itch. And I like the production of it. Songs are really exciting to me, and it's atmospheric in spots, it rocks in others. But more important, it just kind of takes you back in time to like, 40, 45, 50 years ago to the stuff that, most people got started listening to,
Pete, I don't know what, I do know what people like because that's my business to know what people like in the prog realm. And I know they like this, but I personally like that sort of old school prog sound. Who's doing it these days? There's really, there's not much out there. So, Wobbler.
Right. Yeah.
And, you got Wobbler. And so, and I don't know when Wobbler's putting out a new album. So, if you liked Astra, you're going to like Birth. I don't, to me, they're cut from the same cloth, and they don't sound. Birth doesn't sound exactly like Astra, but there's definitely you could tell the DNA is there.
Yeah,
You know,
it's definitely here.
it's missing the, is it missing the 20-minute song? Well, maybe on the next album. It's also sort of like I hear this, particularly on the guitar work. The guitar seems to have like a little bit of like a psychedelic feel to it. Like
Oh, yeah.
Talking about like it's more, like I said, I think I said before we started recording, like it's more Roy Albrighton than it is like a Steve Howe, or a Steve Hackett. There's nothing like that, and it's got this sort of raw energy to it that Roy had. And yeah, Nectar I think is early Nectar I think is a really good comparison. The keyboards definitely keep it square on the prog world. Mellotron, don't tell anybody, it's not real Mellotron, but found
it sounds authentic enough, right?
It sound, samples are so good these days.
Yeah,
I mean, who cares? It's got the sound.
Yep.
And that's the thing about Birth. It has the sound. So you like the Mini Moog, Hammond organ, Mellotron sounds. And
they're all here.
it's here. It's a good album. This is my number one so far the year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm really digging it. So it's hard to say like what's going to be number one because the year's only half done. But this all of a sudden is jumping up pretty high. I usually try to rate these when I do these shows. So I mean, right now, I don't know if I'm there yet to give it a 5 out of 5 star, but I'm already at 4.5. Which
Pete, you can't give it a 5. I mean, you have to go by the Dave Portnoy theory, right? The one bite everybody knows the rules. I mean, because if you give it a 5 and something better comes along,
what is that, a 5.5 when we don't
exactly
even do 5.5, right?
Yeah, exactly. So so easily a 4.5.
Oh, easily,
right?
Yeah. And it could be higher at some point.
Yeah,
we'll see, but time will tell. Now you got me hungry for pizza, man. Jesus.
That's right.
I watch those damn videos of his every day.
Every night, yeah. He's out on Long Island. I'm still watching them.
I know. I keep expecting to like him show up somewhere around here. I think he was in Ulster County like last year. He was like in Rhinebeck and Kingston in that area, but he's not come around here to my knowledge.
He hits North Jersey. I'm in South Jersey. Yep. And the problem is the places he goes, as soon as he goes there, the line's out the door.
Mobbed, yeah.
You can't get in. So
yep. I did go to one place that he went to that he rated very highly up in Albany. In fact, Eric Porter and I both went there. Now I can't remember the name of the place. Davio's? No. I forget the name. It was quite good. It was quite good. He rated it very highly. It was quite good. Yeah. So I did go to one of his destinations. So
that's cool.
So there you have it, everybody. Birth and their debut album, Born.
Yep.
Available now on Bad Omen Records, also distributed through Metal Blade. So easy to get. Ken's got them in stock, correct?
Yeah. Oh, one thing. If you order the blue splatter vinyl, it's delayed slightly. So purple vinyl's out, the CD's out, and the blue splatter is like imminent, like days. Probably
end of the week.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. I think I was talking to Metal Blade today, and I think they're supposed to get the blue splatter like in the next day or two. So
okay, there you go.
But yeah, it'll be available.
Head on over to lasercd.com and pick up your copy of Born by Birth, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We are on Facebook and YouTube all together all the damn time. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you've enjoyed this day full of new album releases. We'll have more coming at you next Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that little notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And also down below we have the link for our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page where you can get all sorts of cool Sea of Tranquility shirts and things like this gorgeous one here. So thanks for watching, everybody.
You can get one like this.
Yeah, you can get one of those too. The plain one, right? The plain SOT shirt with no SOT on it, right?
Yeah, the invisible.
That's right. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again real soon here on Sea of Tranquility. For Ken Golden, I am Pete Pardo. Have a good day, everybody. See you tomorrow on The Monsters Den. Take care. Bye-bye.